Next lesson. Lesson number 2 for factors and products. Perfect squares. Perfect cubes. And their roots. Perfect squares, perfect cubes, and their roots. Beginning on page 144. We want to determine the square root of 1,296. Now, what is that? Square root, the two numbers that multiply to make 1,296. Like the square root of 25 would be 5, because 5 times 5 is 25. So what I'm going to simply do is I'm going to estimate. So if I think like this, 10 times 10 is 100. So I know that my number has to be bigger than 100. In fact, 20 times 20 is 400. So I know my number has to be bigger than 400. 30 times 30 is 900. So I know I have to be bigger than 30, but I know I'm getting close. Let's just check 40. 40 times 40 is 1,600. Now I'm bigger. So the number that I'm looking for is somewhere in between 30 and 40. Now I've determined this, and I'm going to go ahead using my calculator as a tool, and I will probably start at 32. So 32 times 32 is 1,024. 33 times 33 is 1,089. 34 times 34, 1156. Now I'm getting close. It might just be the next one. 35 times 35, 1225. Es muss es nächstes sein. It has to be 36. 1296. So the square root is 36. 36 times 36 is 1,296. Now, of course, you all know, I think, that you can find a square root with a calculator, but I'm not going to remind you about that. We're going to keep on with our mental arithmetic. Like you can find it at a calculator with one single step. Square root of 1764. 1,764. If you've been paying any attention to, a smidgen of attention to all the Pythagoras we've been doing, then you'll know what I'm talking about, but I'm not about to do that. Okay, we determined earlier that 40 times 40 is 1,600, so we know that this one is going to be bigger than 40, right? So we might as well start at 41. And I'm going to predict that it won't take very long to find this one. 1681. Got to be the next one. Got to be. 42 times 42. 1764. So 42 times 42. 1764. This is what you call taking advantage of a previous question, people. Now then, that's a square root. Those are pretty easy. But a cube root. cube root of 1728. 1728. Now a cube root. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. Therefore the cube root of 27 is 3. When you multiply a number 3 times, that's your cube root. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Cube root of 8 is 2. 4 is times 4 times 4 is 64. The cube root of 64 is 4. So now we're finding a cube root of 1768. Well, you don't have to go too far. Let's try. You might know this one mentally. 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000, right? It's the 3 zeros. So we know we have to go higher than 10. And we probably don't have to go very far. 11 times 11 times 11. 1331. 12 times 12 times 12. 1728. There we have it. Cube root of 1728 is 12. Now there's two ways we can show this. Same way we just did. 12 times 12 times 12 is 1728. Or you can use the square root symbol with the little 3 there for your cube root. Equals 12. Same way you could have done square root for 1296, right? But there's how you do a cube root. 2,744. I've got a nice one here. Now, I'm already at 12 with 1728. So I'd be pretty foolish if I didn't go higher, right? 13 times 13 times 13. 13 times 13 times 13. 2197. I'm not there, but we can sense that we're about to get there. 14 times 14 times 14. 2744. Oops. There it is. $27.44. 14, 14, 14. And you could do cube root. 2744 equals 14. So that's a square root and a cube root. Let's do a word problem. Wait a minute, you didn't say there was a word problem, did you? You didn't say this was a word problem. Cube has a volume of 4,913 cubic inches. What is its surface area? Well, procedure here is to find the length of one side of the cube, because volume is length times width times height. You multiply it 3 times to get the volume. Cubes, sides of a cube are all the same, so you multiplied the same number 3 times to get this, right? So you need to find out what that number is. 49,913. We just discovered that 2,744 is the cube root for 14. Let's do a quick check. Let's see what 20 times 20 times 20 will bring us. Aha, that's too big. So it's about 8,000, right? So, I don't think we'll need to go much higher, will we? We're at 14. Why don't we begin with 15? Don't think we'll need to do this very long and we'll have it. 15 times 15 times 15 is 3375. 16, 16, 16. 4,096. Well, I'm going to guess it'll be the next one. 17 multiplied 3 times. 4,913. So, the cube root of 4,913 is 17. So we know that one side of this cube is 17 inches. So a cube has 6 faces, right? So we need to just find the area of one face and then go times 6. So they're all squares. 17 times 17. 17 squared is 289. That's one face. Sorry, I did 286. 289. It has 6 faces times 6. 1734. So what's the surface area of this cube? 1734 inches squared. There's your word problem. Your homework. Right on the page where I found the cube problem. Page 146. 4, 5. Page 147. 7, 8, 10. Let's quickly talk about those questions. So 46, 4 and 5, 147, 7, 8 and 10. So 146. Determine the square root of each number. Find the two numbers that you will multiply to get 196. Do whatever you need to do. Guess and check. Whatever it's going to be. Doesn't matter. Just get her done. Think about this. You know that 10 times 10 is 100. So then you know that the square root of 196 has to be bigger than 10. Think. Use logic. You know that 20 times 20 is 400. So then you know the square root of 441 has to be bigger than 20. Okay? Cube roots. Say, find 3 numbers that multiply to make these numbers. Oh, I hope no one loses over 1,000 because that's a bit of a gimme to get that one. Yeah. 10 times 10 times 10, right? But again, think logically. 343. What is 5 times 5 times 5? 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 5 is 125. So you know the number for 343, the cube root, is going to be bigger than 5. But is it going to be bigger than 10? No, because 10 is already 1,000. So the answer is somewhere between 5 and 10. Set your benchmark, work it out, get it done. Okay? 7. Determine the side length of each square. You're simply finding the square root of each of these numbers. That's all you're doing. Determine the edge length of each cube. You're just finding the square root of each of these numbers. A cube has a surface area of 6,534 square feet. What's its volume? Well, you got to first of all divide by 6 because it has 6 faces, right? So take this number, divide it by 6, and the answer that you get from that, find the square root. Then you have the length of one side, and then how do you find your volume from there? Length times width times height. That will be all. That's your homework. We're going to close this recording. That should keep you busy enough for next week. That's a 30-minute recording and a 16-minute recording. Try not to have too much fun with those. I'm still waiting for all of your trigonometry assignments, especially the very last one from all of you. Au revoir.